children, and welcome to the vlog. That's apparently how I'm starting the video. It's a Friends reference. I don't know if you ever noticed when Chandler walks into a room, he says, "Hello children." So, hello children, welcome to the vlog. It is Thursday, the 2nd of January, and I have decided I want to be very kind to myself for the beginning of the year. So, on the side of this vlog, I am reading one of my most anticipated books, a book I'm super excited for. We Used to Live Here. That's in progress. And I thought, what better to do alongside it than reread all of my favourite short manga series? So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. I think I'll cut it off next Friday because I'm not going to read anything. Well, I am, but I'm not going to read any manga tonight because I'm going to be reading We Used to Live Here. So I thought tomorrow I'll start and I'll just read as many off the list as I can. I already kind of hinted at this in my TBR anyway, because the first one we're going to be reading is Mars Red. It's a 3-volume series and it's about vampires in 1920s Tokyo. I really enjoyed it the first time through, but I also read it quite spaced out, and I think that I lost some of the story doing it that way. So I've been wanting to kind of reread it all back to back to fully get it, and I'm very excited to make this my first one. So I have another 3-book series, 3-volume series. I have like a 3-volume bind up, and I think I have one. No, there's more than that. Where's the list? Oh right, yeah, okay, there are 2 3-volume series, what I think is a 3-volume bind up, a 5-volume series, and then a 6-volume series, which is split into 3 bind ups, which might have given quite a lot of them away. I don't know that I'll be able to read all of that in a week. I have plans on Saturday. I'm also reading a book, and I have a buddy read starting with Meg and Chloe on Monday, but that is very short. So I think it should be good. I think I should be able to get, no, let's not say that I should be able to get all of them in, because then if I fail, I'm going to feel bad. And that's not what the vlog is about. The vlog is about just enjoying things that I have previously enjoyed, but in quick succession. I feel like I'm going to get more out of the stories this way, because I know for at least one of them, I knew that reading it back to back would be better because it kind of feels like an action movie. And I think just reading that in one go is going to be better. But anyway, Mars Red is going to be my first one. So I think I'll just check in at the end because it's only 3 volumes. So hopefully I will be reading this tomorrow, and then I'll let you know whether it was just as enjoyable this time around, my thoughts, my opinions, was it better reading it back to back? I don't know what this is. This is self-indulgent. I just want to have a good time. So, oh hi, it is Tuesday at 20 to 12 at night, and it is safe to say that this vlog has not really gone to plan so far, because I have only read Mars Red. That's it. That's all I've read so far, but I did have a smashing time, so let me tell you about it. I was right. Reading this back to back was much better than reading it kind of all spaced out, because I felt like I fully had forgotten the story. I just remembered that I loved it. I remember like the basics of it, but not like the full story. And getting to read it all back to back reminded me how good it was. The art in this is stunning. The characters are so good, because I genuinely kept changing my mind about who my favourite character was like 10 times, like a volume. It's just got such a good cast. They're all so interesting, and I forgot a huge part of the story. So then when it was all happening again, I was like, oh my god, yeah. And reading it all back to back meant that certain things had a much more emotional response from me, and I cried. I don't remember crying the first time round, so really I should have known that something was about to happen, and yet there I was crying. There's just something so beautiful about this art. Like, I'll show you this, which is just like a cover page. They're just like, the character designs are so good. I think like once I got into the first volume, because I read the first half of the first volume, but I read it like super late at night, and then I went and kind of put it down for like 2 days, I think. But then when I came back to it, I was like, oh my god, why am I taking so long to read this? And then I just powered through the next 2 volumes because I could not put them down. I feel like the story really kicks in the second half of volume 1, which makes sense because it's like an introduction and it's such a short series. But in volume 2 and 3, it goes full pelt, and then so good, so good. Don't get me wrong, first volume is still really good, but these 2 volumes, amazing. And I remembered as I was reading it that I watched the anime and I knew that things were different because this was originally a stage reading, musical reading, which I don't think we have that sort of thing here in the UK, but it seems to be quite popular in Japan. And that's how it was originally done. And then they made it into like a manga and an anime. And in this, the mangaka keeps saying like there's differences in the anime, there's differences in the anime. There really is. And I much prefer this version. I remember being a little bit confused and feeling like it was disjointed in the anime, and this flows a lot better. I really don't want to say too much about the plot, but basically they are this like vampire regiment in the military, and they're kind of being created as like a covert secret weapon almost, but there is like a overarching story and something goes on. So they're doing this stuff because vampires that kind of don't have control over their powers are like killing people all over the city, so then they're trying to stop them, and there's also like another plot going on, and it's just so good, so good. This was a great one to start with, but I am now behind. Shock. I know I said I was going to finish this vlog on Friday, but I think I might stretch it to Saturday depending on how it goes, because now my mum is stealing my child from the weekend. She's picking him up from school on Friday and they're not bringing him home until Sunday evening. So I'm going to go on Becca's Sprints on Sunday and I'm going to try and read as much as I can Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So there is a chance that I might still get quite a lot for this vlog read on Thursday and Friday. If not, I'm going to continue on to Saturday, read as much as I can, then close it and start the next one. See? It's all going to work out. The thing is that I filmed both my roundup videos this week and they are quite long. I really need to get off the floor actually. Let me just stretch my leg because I've been sat on the floor for like, I don't know, how long? Almost 2 hours because I started filming the book roundup at 10 o'clock at night. Good choices were made. Good choices were made, but because they are quite long, they do take a bit of time to edit, so I have lost some time doing that, but I've also just lost time procrastinating. I don't really know what I was doing. Anyway, the first series is done. All 3 of those volumes were 5 stars, so that's good. It's still a 5-star series. What should we read next? Well, I'll tell you. I have decided the next thing I'm going to read is Crazy Food Truck. Now I know that I said that I was rereading my favourite short manga series, and I don't know if this is a favourite, but it is short and I did enjoy it. And I distinctly remember when I was reading like the 2nd or 3rd volume thinking that this would work so well in one go because it almost feels like an action movie. So if you read it all together, I think it would work better than reading it spread out. Like, I can't remember, I think I had 1 and 2 and then I had to wait for 3 to come out or something. So I think that if I read this all back to back, that I'm gonna have a better time. Like, don't get me wrong, I still really enjoyed it. I can't remember exactly what I rated it, but I really enjoyed it. I'm just wondering whether it will be even better read back to back, because part of me was like, I don't know if I need to keep this on my shelf anymore, but then I kept thinking, yeah, I really want to read it all together because I think it's going to be a really good time. So let's put that theory to the test. Well, it's Saturday, which is not ideal because I definitely should have finished 2 series minimum by the time, well actually I should have finished all of this, shouldn't I, on the original plan, but I definitely should have finished at least 2 series so that I could read the 4th one today. But I only finished Crazy Food Truck last night. I started and finished Crazy Food Truck last night. I stayed up until 2:30 because I was so determined to finish it, so determined to do it. And here is my main overview. My main takeaway is that when I look back at my ratings, this was a 4 stars, and I stand by that. I still think it's a 4-star series. But I definitely enjoyed it more reading it in one sitting. Reading it in one sitting is a much better way to consume this story because it is like an action movie. So if you just sit and read it all, it kind of works better. I'm just going to put these down, but there is so much that I like about Crazy Food Truck. We're following this guy called Gordon, and he runs a food truck, but he runs it in a future where there's not really a lot of water. So everything's desert. There's not like seas or many lakes and things. And so the fact that he's running this food truck is pretty crazy because ingredients are hard to come by, and he kind of is going out into this desert trying to find food, basically ingredients, so that he can make them. And it's just, everyone thinks it's very bizarre that he's running this food truck, but Gordon just loves to cook. Like, it makes him happy. And then one day he almost runs over this like sleeping bag, and there is a woman inside it, a young woman, and he kind of like takes her in, and she loves food. She's always hungry and she loves his food. And so they kind of form this friendship over the fact that he loves to cook, she loves to eat, but they're also on the run from the military because they're after the girl. So that just opens the door to lots of good action scenes. You know, there's obviously a lot more. I don't want to go into spoilers here. I'll do a spoiler section in a second, because that's how I'm going to be able to tell you about why I didn't like it so much. I can tell you some of why I didn't like it so much. So here's some of the things. Like, there is a lot of fan service in this. The girl just does not want to wear clothes. The way it's done though isn't creepy, because Gordon's constantly telling her to put her damn clothes on. Like, she just says that she's hot, as in she feels hot, so she takes all the clothes off, and he's constantly trying to get to put clothes back on. So it's humorous, but it's just like, there's just a lot of boob for no reason. Like, that doesn't need to be a part of her personality per se, but at least it's done kind of in a humorous way, and it doesn't come across too sleazy. But yeah, could have done without some of that, I guess. And I just feel like maybe for 3 volumes it's got too many elements, because the main thing that I like about Crazy Food Truck is that they're going across this desert wasteland, they're finding these different ingredients, and they're making the food. Like, that was, in fact, if it was just that, I would have really liked it, but obviously that would have been very crazy. So I like the kind of military aspect as well. I like the fact that they're trying to find this girl and how that brings them together. So those are my kind of like 2 favorite elements. I just feel like something about it was too much for 3 volumes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it, but then would it have been better as a longer version? Probably not. Probably not. I really like the art style in this. I like the action scenes. I love the food stuff. I enjoyed him like stopping and going to forage for ingredients and then making something, and it actually made me really hungry. I ate like a whole massive bag of crisps while I was reading this, and I didn't even particularly like the things that he was making. I mean, obviously some of it is not real, but it's all based on like real food, because animals have changed due to lack of water and stuff. So like, there's a camel pig and stuff like that. That side of it was so well done that it generally did make me hungry, and I would have read it if it was just that, honestly. But I did enjoy the actiony stuff. So let me tell you in a spoiler section the main things that didn't work for me. It's really only one major gripe. Like, I do think that it tries to do a little bit too much. I do think that there was maybe a few too many characters for what we were doing, but the main thing that I hated, right, is that Gordon, who looks exactly like Tom Selleck, Richard from Friends, right? He looks exactly like Tom Selleck, is a middle-aged food truck cook. That is on the synopsis, right? And Arissa, the girl he finds, is a 17-year-old girl. So tell me why they get together at the end. I loved it when they were friends. I loved that friendship, but it was like a father-daughter situation, and then all of a sudden they kissed, and it is implied, heavily implied, because they're naked, that they do the deed, and that makes me uncomfortable. But now we're getting into real spoiler territory, because here's what makes it extra uncomfortable, right? Is that it turns out Arissa is a doll, which is basically a clone. She's a clone of a woman called Sarah. Now, Sarah and Gordon know each other because Sarah used to be in his like platoon when he was in the military. So Gordon was in the military, by the way. Sorry, that's also a spoiler. So he was in the military. He didn't want to be in the military anymore, so he left, and he's supposed to be dead. And Sarah says at one point that it has been 3 years. It's only been 3 years since she last saw him, which means that Sarah has only been part of the doll program for 3 years, which wasn't successful straight away, and they made the clone out of cells from Sarah, which would imply that although Arissa looks 17, she is in fact possibly 2. That just don't sit right with me, you know? That just doesn't sit right with me. I wish that I could take that section out, because right up until that point I was having such a good time. I still give all 3 volumes a 4, but I really wish I could take that element out of it. I love the art, the action scenes are so well drawn, I quite enjoy the story, I love the food elements of it. I just really wish that she wasn't constantly naked and that they hadn't got together at the end. So even though I really enjoyed it, both times I read it, I had a good time, I will not reread this anymore. I'm glad that I did this because I wanted to read it all in one go, but now it's time to pass this on, I think. So enjoyed it, but I don't need to keep it on my shelves. So we're just gonna move on to the next one. If I'm honest, I'm not really shocked that that's how Crazy Food Truck turned out, because I did want to read it all in one go, but I didn't think it was going to be a forever series on my shelf. So 4 is still really good, and I'm really glad I read it, but let's move on to something that I know for sure is going to be an absolute win, and that's King in Limbo. There's absolutely no way this isn't going to be even better second time through reading it back to back. So I have these 3 omnibus volumes, which is technically like 6 volumes, and I still want to read Blackguard, but we still have to wrap this vlog up today, so really need to crack on, don't I? So I think I might update you when I'm halfway through this one because it's slightly longer, but let's just see how it's going. We're still sprinting and I am now halfway through King in Limbo. This really is fantastic. Like, I didn't forget how good it was because it's one of my favourite things that I found last year, and just in general, if I'm honest. But just something about rereading it in one go. I know I keep saying it. It's so good. So in this, there was basically this sleeping disease, and what it does is it attaches to a traumatic memory and you get stuck, which is obviously horrendous. So you get stuck reliving that traumatic memory over and over again, and then there are these people called divers and their companions that go into your mind and basically get rid of it, which is not as easy as I've just made it sound. So Adam is in the Navy and he loses his leg after an IED blows up, and he wakes up and he's told that he has this really high compatibility with this guy who is referred to as King, and he's the person that kind of ended sleeping sickness before, but now it's back. And I just forgot some of the intricacies of the storyline. Like, this would make an amazing movie or an amazing anime movie. The kind of sci-fi plot, because it is sci-fi, because it's set in like 2080 something, and there's a lot to do with like holograms, and the technology is very advanced and all this kind of stuff, and I think it would just work amazingly well. The kind of plot, there's always some shady dealings, which we love, but mostly the thing that I love most about this series, and I'm being reminded of as I reread it, is the kind of dynamic between the two main characters, so between Adam and King. Adam is like this bubbly military person who has a very fierce protective streak, and Rune, or King, is very jaded, very grumpy, doesn't take care of himself, doesn't care about a lot of things. And so the dynamic is so interesting because you've got Adam, who is this big, like, military guy who will kick butt when needed, has a heart of gold, and he's like trying to look after this grumpy little sod. It's just so good. Like, over the first 3 volumes, you can really see this dynamic growing and see them starting to kind of trust each other and work together, and so good. I'm having such a good time. Adam is my favourite character in this, and I remember thinking that he was my favourite character the first time through, and is solidifying it because there's just something about him. He's so sunshiny, so sweet, so protective, and the way he kind of just steps into that role in King's life and is learning so much as it goes. I just love it. I also love the dynamic between him and his younger siblings, because he has like 3 younger siblings and the nan who they kind of stay with, and that's it. Like, his parents are gone, and just the dynamic between him and his siblings is so sweet. This might be like up there. I don't know why I'm saying might. This is up there as one of my like favourite mangas. And I would love an anime. I know I've already said it, but I would love one. So if anybody is watching who makes these decisions, can we get one, please? In an unforeseen turn of events, Danny is not hungry. So I am braving the cold and leaving my house for the first time since Tuesday, because that was when I was last in the office, and I'm gonna go to Tesco's and get sushi. My car is like an ice block. So I need to defrost it first, which means I need to stop talking to you because I need to put my fans on. But that's what we're doing. We're going to Yo Sushi, or the Yo Sushi counter in Tesco's. Oh fuck, it's cold. I'm home. I was going to take you into the shop with me, but honestly it was so cold. I was just like, get in and out. My wing mirror was like frozen, because I have like the ones that you push a button and they go in and out, right? Well, this one just would not. I could not get it open. So I was trying to like open it. I sprayed it with a load of de-icer, and then like on the 4th try it was finally worked. Oh my god, that was a mission. Anyway, I had a successful trip. I have chicken katsu curry. I have Korean style chicken bites. I have a custard dorayaki dessert, and then I got this, which is strawberry flavoured. It's like a soda. So, you know, when I say sushi, I don't mean like fish. I just mean whatever Yo Sushi has, which is normally, this is like my go-to, if I'm honest. I also got Danny's birthday cards, although I'm not very impressed with the one that I had, but there wasn't very many options. They were all husband, and he's not my husband. We're not married, so I couldn't get him that one. And then I got a couple of jumpers. They're just like plain, one's black, one's like a light blue. I need to try them on because they might not be fit for purpose, but I thought if they fit and they look alright, they're kind of that smart casual that would be good for the office, because I don't have to get too dressed up for the office, and they'll be comfortable. So I'm gonna go cook because I'm now freaking starving, and then I need to finish King Limbo and decide what I'm doing about Blackguard. Am I reading it or not? Because it's now 8 o'clock on Saturday. I was supposed to finish this vlog yesterday. Don't know what to do. It's almost 11 and I had my Yo Sushi, and then I decided to restart Delicious in Dungeon, which I can't say apparently. I watched like the first episode and a half of this one D&D day, because Rob put it on while we were eating food, and I'm sure that we got about halfway through the 2nd episode, and then their son came home, so we spent a bit of time with him before he went to bed, and then we went back to D&D, and I just never continued it, but I remember really enjoying that like first episode. So when I was eating a couple of days ago, I kept thinking, oh, maybe I'll put Delicious in Dungeon on, which I still can't say, but I thought I might get distracted by it. And then I was like, oh, but you're already watching Blue Exorcist and you've got this and that. But technically I have been considering it as like an in progress anime. So I thought, fuck it. I was in the mood. So I went and watched the first 2 episodes again, and it was really good. It's really fun because it's just basically about this group of adventurers and they go into a dungeon, and right at the start they're in the dungeon, they're fighting this dragon. One of them gets like chomped and uses magic to send the others out of the dungeon, and so they're trying to get back to her so they can kind of find her body and resurrect her, but they have no money, nothing. So they are going to survive by eating things in the dungeon, like monsters and stuff. And it's just kind of really like, I don't know, chill and sweet. So they've been fighting monsters, but it's mostly about the process of cooking. That's the main premise of it. I'm really enjoying it so far. Anyway, I then came upstairs. I have been slightly distracted, but I have finished King in Limbo. So today I have read all 6 volumes of King in Limbo, and my main takeaway from this is that it has cemented King in Limbo as one of my favourites. Hands down. Obviously favourite. I would say at this point my top mangas are Attack on Titan, Trigun, Blackguard, although I'm going to reread that so we'll see, King in Limbo. Maybe King in Limbo is going to overtake Blackguard. Wouldn't that be exciting? For me. Not for you guys, probably. No, actually, because I also want to include Blue Exorcist in that, because I love Blue Exorcist. And Windbreaker, because I'm really enjoying Windbreaker. And Tokyo Revengers. Okay, I can't make a list. Don't make a list. Don't make me. Maybe I should. Maybe I should try and think of like, I should put some thought into this and make like a top 10 manga. But don't take anything that I just said as gospel. Wow, that's so attractive. Because that was off the seat of my pants and I don't want to be held to that. But this is definitely going to be in the top 10. The way I would kill for an anime adaptation of this is insane. Because this would be amazing. It would be so good. Like, it could be a movie or it could be like a couple of seasons maybe, but there would be it would be so good. It would be brilliant. I love this story so much. It's so action packed. There's so much intrigue, but most of all, these two, the dynamic between them is fantastic. The way it grows over the 6 volumes, brilliant. It's so well done. I cannot stress how much you should be picking this up if you've not read it yet, because one, it's super short. It's literally just these 3 things. That's it. It's just that. It's a great story. It's got great characters. It's fast paced. There's like a mystery. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. I think I already said this at some point, or maybe it was in my wrap up, I can't remember, but I think Adam Garfield is going to be one of my favourite manga characters of all time. I just love him, but paired with Rune, it's perfection. This duo is everything. I will never unhaul this. I've read it twice. I will reread again. And now I know that literally just parking myself in a chair on a Saturday and reading through this is peak. Honestly. Just reading this all together in one day was a splendid move on my part. This made me so happy. So if it wasn't clear, 5 stars across the board. Okay. 100%. So I know what you're thinking. Gemma, it's 11 o'clock on Saturday night and you said that you had to finish this vlog on Friday, and then you took it over to Saturday and you said you must finish it by Saturday. So you're done, right? We're just going to do the 3 series and be done. Of course we're fucking not. I'm going to read Blackguard. Of course we're not. Listen, I'm eating my own hair. I'm so stressed. My hair is all over the place. It's inexplicable. I am aware that this is a stupid move. Okay, I am aware that starting a 5-volume manga series at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, when I'm supposed to be closing this vlog, is a bullshit move. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not not saying that I'll be able to finish all of this before I go to bed, but if worse comes to worse, I will finish it tomorrow. oh, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea because I must start filming my next vlog tomorrow. I must. But we're going to do this first. So I will not update you halfway through. I am going to go and read as much of this as I can, and I will update you in the morning. If I have finished it in the morning, great. If I haven't, I'll tell you how far I got, and we'll power on through. Okay. The thing is, right, I've been saying that Blackguard is one of my favourites, and I have been telling everyone to read this. I've only read it once, and I did read it pretty back to back. I'm just showing you all the covers because I think they're beautiful. I did read them very close together, but I just want to reread it because I've been saying that I want to reread it for all of last year, I think, or at least like 6 months of it. I'm sure I kept saying to Siobhan and Tori that I really wanted to reread it. So I'm going to treat myself to that now. Maybe it's no sleep till Blackguard is complete. Oh god. I'm going to be a mess tomorrow, but that is future Gemma's problem. Okay, so it's Sunday. I'm on Becca Sprints, and I'm spent the whole morning being disorientated because I woke up at 11:45 and sprint started at 12. And why did I wake up at 11:45, I hear you ask? Well, remember how I started Blackguard? I finished it. I believe I started reading volume 1 at 11? 10, 11? I finished volume 5 at 4 a.m. Whoopsie. I'm going to hold up my favourite cover, which is this one. So, was Blackguard as good on reread? I think it was better. I think reading it in one sitting back to back was perfect. So, did I explain what Blackguard was? Let me tell you. We're following this guy, Minami, and this guy who's called Chris Miyagi. His name is Nanoi Minami, I think, but I always just think of him as Minami. They live in a future Tokyo where these things called shuju, which I think I have been pronouncing wrong the entire time. I've always said shoujo in my head and in videos, but I'm sure in there was a panel that said that O sounds are long, so both of them, so that would be shuju, I think. There are these creatures that if they bite you, you will turn into one of them. So I think kind of zombie-esque, but they're like big apes type things. So Minami has this condition that is referred to as morbus sai, and in him, his main symptom is that he has like, I think they refer to it as mild suicidal ideation. So he goes out and he fights these shuju, and he is their top fighter. Like, he is their secret weapon. He's known as the Blackguard. Everyone dresses in white because they flooded Tokyo with this fog that was supposed to kill all the shuju, and it didn't kill them all, but it's white, so if they dress in white it's harder for them to be spotted by the shuju. But he dresses in black because obviously he doesn't really care about dying, but he's so good at what he does, he's so good at fighting, that even though he goes out and every time it's like, maybe this will be the time that I die, he kind of can't help but fight. And so he kills more shuju than any other soldier. He just doesn't really care about his own life until he meets Chris. So Chris gets partnered up with Minami to keep an eye on him and kind of keep him alive, basically. And as they kind of get to know each other, Minami starts to have like human emotions that he's not really had before, and he starts to care about certain things. So it's really, to me, more about their relationship and how they kind of change each other. It's so beautiful, it's so well done. There is so much fantastic representation in this, so much representation. It is so good, and I just loved it. Obviously it's post-apocalyptic at the same time. You've got shady stuff going on. They work for, I guess, like a paramilitary organisation that is literally there to guard civilians and try and fight these shuju. And it's just so good. I think, I stand by this, I think the ending is not perfect. I think that there is something about it, it feels a bit rushed at the end. However, I understand why it was done that way. It just kind of feels a little bit of an abrupt ending. Does that mean that I give volume 5 less than 5 stars? No. No, it doesn't. This is 100% a 5-star series for me across the board. I had an absolute blast rereading it. I would still recommend it to everyone. There is so much about kind of like being human and human emotions and human connection in this. It's really about kind of love as well, and it's just all to the background of a post-apocalyptic Tokyo. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. More people should read it. I know that I said the ending isn't perfect, but the series itself is top tier. I can't recommend it enough. I know I didn't quite manage to finish what I wanted to because I didn't read Livius and I went over by a full day. I mean, I went into Sunday, but that doesn't count because I hadn't slept. I still think that this was really good because I read all of this in this vlog. 4 entire series. I know they're short, but still. And I think that it was a great way to start off my reading year for manga because 1, I mean, it's put me in a good place numbers wise, but 2, just reliving these series and having such a good time was absolutely the best thing I could have done to kick off 2025. So should I rank them least favourite to most favourite? That's hard. That's a hard call. Well, it's between 2 at the top. So obviously Creative Food Truck is going to be my least favourite as it was the 4-star of the vlog. I still think it's really good. I still think it's worth a read. I just know that I'm not going to reread this again now because I kept it purely because I wanted to reread it in one sitting to see whether it kind of felt more like an action movie. It absolutely did, but it didn't up my rating. So I'm going to get rid of this, but not because it's bad, just because I know that now I've done that. I've done what I wanted to with it. I won't go back and read it again. So yeah, so that's number 4, I guess. Number 3 would be Mars Red. I still really love this. I really enjoy it. I think I will go back and read this again. Reading it back to back is definitely the way to go. It does feel like a complete movie that way. And I love the characters. I love the art style. It's a 5-star series. It's just that the other 2 are so strong. So this has to be a number 3. And now I'm having a dilemma. If you ask me this, like next year, it'll probably change. But in second place, I'm going to go Blackguard. I would still class this as one of my favourite series and I still recommend it to everyone. I wish more people would read it. I love the representation. I love the story. It made me cry. Oh, that's a point I didn't say. Volume 3. Actually, this time, Volume 2 got me. Volume 3 got me worse. Made me cry. And then I think I also welled up in 4 and 5. So, you know, but maybe that was just because, you know, it was 4:30 and I was emotionally drained. But it was fantastic. Please read this. Great representation, great storyline, great characters. Also, what I love about the art is the way it's drawn, all the characters feel so androgynous. So there are times where I'm not 100% sure until someone's referred to with pronouns whether the character is male or female, and I kind of love that because there's discussions about that in here anyway. So fantastic. Which it means my number 1 series out of these is King in Limbo. I'm not shocked. I know it was like tough to call between this and Blackguard, but if I'm honest, this is a perfect series for me. I love the action. I love the characters. The dynamic between these 2 is so perfect. It's got a great plot. It's got great art. It's just so good. It's so good. Even on the second reread, when I knew things, I was still like on the edge of my seat. I just had forgotten little intricate parts of the plot. So when they kind of came back, I was like shocked all over again, and just I could reread this again and again and again, and that shows that it's a favourite series. So I read 14 things for this vlog, but if we count these as the 2 volumes they are, then that is 17 volumes. 17 volumes to kick off 2025. I think that's pretty good going. This was extremely self-indulgent, but I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts on the ones that I read, let me know in the comments below. Have I convinced you to read any of them? And if I have, will you be sending me updates? If you just want me to know you're here, that purple heart is always appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed and you'd like to see more content from me, remember to hit that button, leave a like if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one.